Right, you lot. And I feel like I've oversaturated talking about Walt Disney Animated Studio. Bloody hell. After that, how long that ranking took, I never want to see a Disney character again. However, Disney is just such a massive entity. I mean, it became a joke for a while that they just buy everything and everyone. So you can't really escape from it. And I'm back talking about Disney, but not in the traditional sense. Now, as you probably do know, Disney have multiple animation studios, There's a fair few. You've got Disney Television, which, well, the clue's in the name as to what they make. You have Pixar, which I did a whole video talking about that, and basically they saved the company, and now they're being destroyed because they keep putting their films on Disney Plus. But Elemental did well, get in. There's a couple of companies that unfortunately have got the boot over time. You've got Blue Skies, which was the Fox-owned animated studio which made Ice Age. What else did they make? And Ice Age, I think that was about it. Nah, actually the Peanuts movie was great, but And then you had something like Circle 7 Animation, a very more obscure company which were going to make, and I kid you not, illegal sequels to Pixar films, like a version of Toy Story 3 where Buzz got taken to Japan. I'm glad that didn't go very far. And finally, it's probably the most iconic of a Disney studio apart from Pixar. Disney Toon. This company was created with not the artistic vision or amazing dream of people to make animated films like a Pixar. Nope, they made it to pave to the DVD market and to make as much money as possible, making the lowest budget sequels to Disney film. They made a sequel to bloody anything. Brother Bear 2, the sequel you all dreamed of, they made that one. And it wasn't very good. How about Lion King 1.5? Timon and Pumbaa, do you want to know what they were doing during the Lion King? That one was actually quite good, to be honest. And they did this practice for about 12 years. And at least financially, it was very successful. However, critics mostly agree that these films were mostly awful, were very unimaginative, just very creatively bankrupt, lazy film that fundamentally did not get the original in many cases. Especially Hunchback of Notre Dame too. I can't get over that film. However, Disney Toon did make some good films. They made things like a Goofy movie and some of the Winnie the Pooh films, like notably the Tigger movie. And the Tinkerbell films as well, and they were absolutely brilliant. I don't care you say the Tinkerbell films are incredible. But they were not sequels. Disney Toon sequels were unfortunately binned off when John Lasseter joined. A guy who at that time, remember, was very respected in the industry. And Disney Toon from that forward would only make the Tinkerbell films already mentioned, and the Plane films, which were just plain bad. And 100% there's going to be a video on the Tinkerbell films down the line, just you wait. Now, I have to admit something, before we kind of get into the main subject of the video. Growing up, I loved a lot of these films. I've seen a lot of them. When you're a kid, you don't really care about quality. It's like, wow, it's Aladdin back on the big screen. Wow, it's Ariel back on the big... You know what I mean? I've sat through many of these. And after the ranking, I wondered, could any of the movies actually crack into the top half of the list? And there are only 3 that I'd probably say that could do that, just off my memory. Now, I'd probably put half of them above Home and the Range and Chicken Little, but I think 101 Dalmatians 2, Lion King 1.5, and Lion King 2 could all crack that. But there's one film that I really think can compete with the best, a film that is somehow incredible. And the subject of this video, because you've seen the title, Cinderella 3, is Twist in Time. I have no idea how this film was good. A time travel Cinderella film. I feel stupid even saying it. Let me just say that again. A time travel Cinderella film. That's an actual movie that Disney did. Cinderella, a film of rags and riches, of a hard-working girl being rewarded with a dream by a magical fairy godmother, turns into an action-packed time travel film where the prince jumps out of a window. Let me repeat that. The prince, Prince Charming, the guy about as wooden as my old granddad's chair, he jumps out of a window. It's insane that this worked. I want to see the writer's room where this was pitched as an idea. And when an executive gave somebody $8 million to put this out in and make this film. But it really worked, and let's talk about why it worked. And that is in the characters, really. This film is not, the main character in this film is not Cinderella or the prince. It's Anastasia, a character who, let's face it, was one-dimensional in the first film. She goes on this genuine arc. So the story works like this. Anastasia steals the fairy godmother's wand. It's way too easy, to be honest, but she does, right? She steals the godmother's wand. And Lady Tremaine changes time so that Anastasia was the one who fit the slipper. However, the prince is not convinced, so Lady Tremaine has to spell him, and throughout the film, Anastasia becomes increasingly irritated. You can't force love, and even through magic, Cinderella is who the prince wants. And Anastasia goes on this genuine arc of discovery what love really is. She sees the real world. She's no longer brainwashed by Tremaine. You can tell she's been cradled and put in that toxicity by her for way too long. And honestly, she has one of the best arcs in Disney history. And the main two leads, of the first film, Cinderella and Prince Charming, they get a substantial upgrade. I spent a lot of time defending Cinderella in the ranking video, and I think she's a way better character than anyone gives her credit for. But this one is so much better, even then, because she has to fight for what she wants. She has to be productive. She has to get everything. There ain't a fairy godmother this time to hand her everything. She's got to be a hero. She's got to break into the palace. And, there's a bit in the film where Tremaine literally throws her into the horrible place of carriage pumpkin being rode by Lucifer off a bloody cliff with a horse. And she has to stop that. She's a heroine in this. She's got clever, instinctive tactics, but is constantly beat by Tremaine. The scene where she pretends to be the waiter and then looks into the water only to be Tremaine to see it all was just such an amazing, tense scene. She's such an upgrade. And as for the Prince Charming, wow, what an upgrade. The guy who was in the first film was as bland as you can get, as I've said. Now has the personality and has charisma, and you back him and you can see his chemistry. He's determined for love, and I love how even through the spell, Cinderella is there. And he is able to challenge Tremaine, and it gives her a good threat. And that's another film. This film's characters have intelligence. They are not naive. Tremaine always has the answer to whatever the heroes do. She's ruthless. One of the great Disney villains, honestly. She will do anything to achieve what she's aiming to do. Such a great villain with no limitations. And her fate, well, she clearly just went too far and got unlucky, if anything. The film definitely proves as well in the first film's pace and issues with the mouse antic, but they don't ruin this film as much, and the mice actually have a big important role in the plot as they saw that the prince got spelled by Tremaine. The ending is also something I really love. It'd be so easy to just kind of undo everything and go back, but the duo feel they don't need to, and they continue from the point in time that they are, and I really love that. So is this film perfect? Well, no. There are a couple of issues, unfortunately. Drizella, the other sister, really gets little to do in this one in the film, and I think that was a massive wasted opportunity. I feel like she maybe could have turned on Tremaine, especially considering Cinderella 2 it was Anastasia who got redemption arc. I heard the original plan was to have Drizella be the one redeemed in this, and I think that would have been a bit more interesting, even though I love what they did with Anastasia. The film also has this really bizarre hand thing going on, where if you touch somebody's hand, you know you're in love, and this film was very self-aware at times and kind of even takes picks at the first film, but that felt very outdated and it felt very weird, and it was a very weird thing to include. Also, there's just a few moments that feel odd and weird, and the animation is not going to be on the level of the first one, but I do think they do a decent job, and they actually do have some great action kind of bits in there, and they do what they can. So, Cinderella 3: A Twist in Time is a film that really had, no right to be good. It shouldn't be good, but through some miracle, you could tell some effort was put into it, you could tell some care. There's genuinely, act structure, actual character growth, and you feel you get something by the end of it. Everyone becomes a better person by the end, and it really is a masterpiece because of what it is. And if I were to actually include this in the Disney ranking, it would be in 23rd place and would be above Hercules. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. So yeah, that was a bit of a smaller video, and this is a passion video I've wanted to do for a long time because I really love this film, and I feel like a lot of people don't give it the credit. So, but now I believe it's going to be a while before we get another analysis. Next week, it's a big one. I'm doing my top 10 pop hits, or top 10 hit songs, I kind of cheated a bit, of 2023, and that's going to be a very exciting video. And then I'm also going to be bringing back commentary with a kind of great surprise video on Christmas Eve, a kind of Christmas Eve special. And then I'm going to be doing my top 10 best and worst school YouTube videos. And then, finally, my next kind of analysis video will be ranking Kanye West 808s and Heartbreaks, and we'll see. I think 2024 is going to be an interesting year. There's going to be some changes coming up, which I'm going to address at the end of January. So yeah, I'll see you then.